position a little bit faster. You did the right thing. Just do it a little bit faster. You were great. You almost had that game won. Just stay focused. It's just tied right now. We're going into Botany Research Station for Game 3. 2-player map here.
It's got gold bases, Wolf. It's got 3 of them. Let's see if Solar takes advantage of them and who will go ahead in the series. Down here in the south, in the blue, our Protoss player just barely taking that game. It was a wild ride. It was SOS. Here he is, $$, $.
And his opponent to the north is Solar. Perhaps naming himself after the energy source. I'm not entirely sure.
Solar. Such a, I don't know. The word is supposed to be solar, like solar energy, solar power, but I don't know. I think it was you who told me that he wanted his name to be said Solar, so I think that's the way you're supposed to pronounce his name.
Yeah, I think that's the
way we've been doing it for so long, so I hope it's correct.
Yeah, well, people around the world say different players' IDs differently. Like some people call Puma, and
really?
Yeah. I'm not going to name any names. Some people also call TY Ty.
Yeah.
Although that seems to have finally come to an end. I think at Home Story Cup 10, it was like finally some sort of agreement of like, hey, that's not. I mean, that's his initials. His name is.
Everybody like wrote a contract down. They signed it. They're saying, okay, that is not allowed anymore. Look at the positioning on this base.
Yeah, this is like a hidden base, but it's not where you would expect it.
This is a mind game. This is Solar saying, hey, I've taken a gold base. Overreact. Look for it. Go scout somewhere that's not my main.
Do you think he's going to take his third base at the pocket or to connect these bases? Because that's what I'm wondering next, because there's advantages to both ways of handling the situation. I think he might try to take the natural just because...
you mean the outside base?
The outside,
natural.
the outside natural, because it'll link them together by creep.
I think you almost have to do that, because once SOS does get the scout down, it's going to be like, oh, it's all the way out there. I can just punish this. I'm a Protoss player. Let me put down a pylon over there. It's all good. But SOS, or even go like Stargate and punish the fact that you can't get that many queens over there, that much air defense. And SOS, he does scout the pool. And he seems to think that the next space is coming up here at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable to expect. I was thinking it might actually cause the base to be made the pocket natural just because it was blocked here. But there he goes. Now, what's really cool about this is if he can hold on to these bases and link them all by creep, the fourth base is so free. Like, you could take it without any worries. There's nothing to worry about there. It's not any closer to the process at the safest location possible. In the later on game where you've got to be worried about taking something like this.
This is where SOS gets really confused. The funny part of this game, he's like, where's your base? It's not there. And he's going to come over to this other gold, and he's going to be like, well, it's not there, so it must be over there.
Yeah, it's not there either. It's over here for sure. I just had a funny thought. You know, for referees that stand behind these players in the booth, they also don't know what's going on in the game. They only have the information that SOS has. How entertaining must it be in situations like this to be like, oh my god, like you're the ref as well, you're watching like, where is that base?
You're just enjoying it as a spectator, you know? You can't see both sides, you can only watch one view. That's actually a really interesting thought.
Because all the referees at this point must be pretty well versed with the game because they sit behind the players and watching it, and they are referees of the game. So
you wouldn't be in that booth as a Kespa referee for Starcraft 2 unless you enjoyed the game.
It was funny, I just looked back at SOS's face and to see how frustrated he looked. He looked pretty annoyed, but I saw the referee standing behind him, and I was like, I wonder what's going through the ref's head. He's like, God, where is that base?
It's like, come on, man, find it. This is really important.
I wonder if the refs have are fans of certain players. It's like, can I ref on Friday because SOS is playing? I want to ref
SOS. And
I want to watch
maybe
him play.
Touch him, you know.
I want to ask him if he's ready and him to say yes to me.
You want to use that tool to see if there's any metal parts on their body?
I want to tell him He needs to put his sound blockers on.
I want him to hear my voice directly.
It's going to be an Oracle build. This is the most common follow-up to hidden base builds because they're far away. The bases aren't connected by creep.
Yeah.
You've only got one queen there in most cases. Even if you have two, sometimes you can see players lose a ton of drones. Spore Crawler is pretty necessary. He's going to see this and needs to start them.
I don't know if he's...
Not going to be ready in time.
Yeah. That Oracle's going to get there when it's about to complete.
He might be able to kill like 4 or 5 drones with this initially here. Second Oracle on the way as well. This Overlord did its job, but is the reaction quick enough? Here it comes. Needs to go in right away, though. I'm not wasting time. Drones being pulled away here.
Second queen coming in here is really going to help out in that defense.
It's going to buy enough time for the Spore to finish at this base, and he can't really commit there. Even with no queen, it's just going to be too tough to actually get those kills.
Yeah. Something we see oftentimes are the players who win the first game and lose the second game is they go back to the exact build that they did in the first game, just like tailor to the map a bit. I think we may see that out of Solar here. We're already seeing 2 Evo chambers coming down. We saw in the last game he went for +1 melee and +1 armor, and that's what he does here. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just plays the same exact style that worked on Echo.
It worked on Echo. It almost worked on that last game as well. Or that was Echo, sorry. I'm like, the Spur
last
game
game was
3.
Coda.
No, I know. I'm like, whoa. My brain just shut
You're
down
like,
for a second.
whoa, did we go on a time travel?
No, we are on game 3, right? Yeah, okay. That last game really messed with me, man. That was
wonky, man.
Plus the Banelings in game 1.
That's the definition of wonky.
Yeah.
So yeah, Solar's just going to play the same build he did in game 1. Exactly what I was talking about.
Baneling Nest on the way. Will it be scouted? Doesn't really matter that much. It's not going to go, oh god, Banelings. It's going to kill me. He did do one attack with them, which with these Lings here, you could absolutely do that again. Well, it's just not like that alarming. You just pull your probes away and the Banelings blow up, or you force field them off because all the sentries are exactly where they need to be.
Just paying attention to, looking straight there. Gonna force away those Lings for now.
Creep spread here, pretty good towards the center of the map, towards that gold base.
Yeah, it's decent. The one thing I'd say, it's not very thick. It's just one line going towards the middle. He doesn't have his third and second bases connected yet through that small passageway.
It's almost connected, not quite. There's the Spire and Infestation Pit. No Banelings made, just the nest.
Not
one
yet.
about to finish. Yeah, not yet. I almost feel like if you're going to do this, you might want to get Overlord drops too.
Yeah.
It's expensive,
it's a
but later on.
of course, yeah, but it's also something that the Protoss rarely ever deals with against Zerg these days, you know?
Yeah, we saw it like, who was doing it in like the open seasons of GSL? I'm going to say like July Zerg, maybe Nest T a little bit, and possibly Fruit Dealer were like doing that back in the day. It's like, oh god, those are a bunch of Overlords. They must have Banelings on them, and it's really hard to blink back and micro. But
yeah,
if you're good at it, if you've practiced it, it becomes easy.
Remember when they used to drop Banelings on Colossi?
Yeah.
People were like, we can't deal with Colossi. We got to use dropped Banelings. That's one of the fun parts of RTSs and people discovering new strategies, trying out new things. You get crazy stuff like that.
Well, it was considered for a while by Korean pros that Banelings were the end-all be-all because they do a lot of damage and it's splash. So all you have to do is hit things with them. So the best way to play is to figure out a way to hit things with Banelings. This is like in the beta, right? But and if you look at Chinese players, man, they thought Banelings were god. They worshipped them. And they still do in ZVZ, but that's another story for another time. A big warp-in over here, 6 Zealots. And you know what? With these Lings here, I think that's not enough. He's going to need some more.
Yeah. Very nice scouting and preparation from Solar. He keeps 1 Ling, or 2 Lings rather, one towards the SOS's gold, one towards his own gold there on the right side of the map. Sees the Warp Prism coming, is in position to stop it.
There are a few Banelings out here, Valdez. 5 more on the way. Does have a lot of force field energy here, but...
No Overlord drop, though.
No Overlord drop, man. That's the thing. That's the problem.
Not today.
He's just so timid to engage on creep, though, against Baneling speed Banes, even with force fields. If he makes a mistake, you're going to lose all your expensive sentries. All it takes is 3 Banes getting in there. Lights out.
There's 1 Muta on the map.
There
no longer. Yeah.
Ultra's Cavern very quickly here. again, like you were saying, continuing the theme of this series so far.
Gigantic counterattack here from Solar. He needs that force field. There it is, just barely.
Well, these Banes are going to do quick work with these Zealots.
Oh, and the Sentry.
Well, if they hit them. Wow, that was really sad. The Banes are like, I'm sorry, I thought I was here to kill the Zealots. What are you guys doing?
Oh, boy. No block here. Look at this.
Go hit those probes. No, that's not what you want to do. Those Banelings did all the wrong things, and I'm really sad about it.
Yeah. There's still not much defense there in the main, just one cannon.
Big attack here.
Yeah, SOS doesn't want to let this go too late this time. He wants to end it. He doesn't want Solar to play comfortably in that late game style. Trying to trade here with some Banelings, and looking at the army so far of Solar, it's not too buff, to be honest. He's got a lot of Lings and Infestors.
Yeah, the Infestors are really important. He's got 2-2. So SOS only has a +2 attack, of course, because that's a
What is going on here in the back? 15
probes
probes have gone down.
And here come the Infestors bungling this army. Splash damage being dealt to everything. Even though it's only a little bit, it's enough to slow this down, to start hurting this. Archon's literally the worst target in the entire game for Banelings, but if you hit them enough times, you slow them down, the Ultralisks pop out, and you can actually start to take fights. SOS is having some trouble here.
He really is. Solar may want to take that fight. He's done so much economic damage on that back door. 20 probes go down. SOS is on 54 right now. It's going to be a while before he can even take a fourth base, and get that saturated, but we won't have the probes to do it.
This is why it was really cool to take the fourth base as the backdoor expansion, because your fourth is exposed. If you lose it, it's okay. You've got more mining in the main. Cool dodge there, as your ooh indicated. And this is an engagement there. All the Protoss units are clumped and stuck together by Fungals. It's exactly what Solar wants.
SOS had like 20 Zealots in there. They all got blown up by like 4 Banelings.
Yep, the Banelings are there to kill the Zealots so they're not blocking the Ultralisks. We figured it out. That Oracle's going to go down. This starts to look exactly like Game 1, because we saw SOS think he could take another engagement just there, where he stayed, or in this case he was kind of forced to stay. He used his Mothership Core to recall, but didn't. And then he loses his army. Now he's down in bases, can't take any more bases, and he's up against a weird comp that he's trying to counteract. By the time he does, either he's going to get blinding clouded like in the last game, or perhaps there's going to be a Broodlord transition.
He obviously is having so much trouble dealing with this composition, which is why I love the fact that Solar went back to it in Game 3. Whatever worked in Game 1, especially when it looks like your opponent doesn't know exactly what to build or how to counter it, just make it again, man, especially if it's something new, like something different that we don't see very often. I would love to see a bunch of High Templars in here, just shut down the Fungals. Even put them in Warp Prisms, like try to go in there and get a bunch of feedbacks down onto the Infestors and then engage. Then you at least can, get your Archons in the front, reposition your army so you can deal with the Banelings and just not have it all just stuck in one place and not be able to micro. I
mean, in an ideal world, absolutely. And I think it would be good for him to experiment with this. Making a Warp Prism right now he has one. I mean, dropping some Templar in there, I think it's a good idea. It's difficult, right? But if he could do that, it's like putting Ghost in a dropship to snipe High Templar. We see that in TVP.
Yeah, I mean, the Warp Prism thing is not actually necessary, but it would be an added touch at least.
It'd be cool. I mean, his army is very strong, but if he loses it even one time, it's game over. He needs to make sure his Mothership Core does not get too far away, as he will need it for recalls.
Oh boy, it's very true.
That one Immortal? Sorry, Immortal.
He's not going to be able to save that. Recall immediately.
God. I mean, those Banelings were touching the blue units before they disappeared and went away.
Here comes a drop, but Solar's more than ready for it. He's going to try to go for the Banelings here.
That's not a good idea. Because, as you know, Banelings do splash damage. So that's SBENU splash damage.
He's like, oh, he just backs off.
The best way to deal with Banelings is to warp 2 DTs and make them into an Archon next to the Banelings. All the Banelings crash into the morphing Archon. It's not very efficient.
We're finally seeing SOS add in a bunch of High Templar. He's also got Storm. Storm on the Banelings and the Lings is also a good idea. He tried to do it towards the end of the game number 1. Didn't quite work out. I think it was too late. And it may just be the case here again. It may just be too late. The attack from Solar is imminent. It's at the 4th base. He does not want to let SOS take that 4th base.
This is just, I'm in awe by this. This is so cool. Okay, that Warp Prism, or rather the Mothership Core, out of position. Storms go down. Feedbacks go down on the Vipers. Very important here. No blinding clouds except the one on the left. But there's already so many units doing damage over there. Needs to join them up to deal with these Ultras on the right. Zealots coming to try to trap and surround these units.
Yeah, you know the main lane hits were actually really, really bad there on a bunch of Immortals in the front. Solar throwing a ton of his units away, but here we go.
DTs?
Protected in the back. There's no vision for those DTs, as you did mention. But will it be enough?
The DTs doing so much to kill those queens on the back to stop the transfuses, but with the Lings, there's just too many of them. They eventually push through, and they've got, you know, if you can bring them over there, he's got Overseers to spot for the DTs.
Yeah. And the other problem with this is that SOS's economy is pretty much in shambles. He desperately needs a 4th base, but just like game number 1, it's so late. We're 21 minutes into this game. He has a really, really bad economy compared to Solar. Solar's immediately able to remax in 9 Ultras extra. And what is SOS going to be able to make? A bunch of Zealots, some Archons, that's going to be about it.
Yeah.
You can already see the supply difference here. Solar taking another base.
This is really, really, really tough for SOS right now to hold on to these bases. The lack of creep is something that he is working on, and it's going to make this even harder. I feel like the best thing that Solar can do, if he can get a little bit more space, a little bit more max, you know, I mean, rather he's maxed out, he's got like a little bit more space to work with, is to again add Broodlords into the comp. I mean, it's the next logical step, as we're seeing mostly Zealot Immortal coming out. It's not going to deal with Broodlords.
Ooh, no detection there at the back door base. That could cause some issues for Solar if he doesn't deal with it here in a bit.
Banelings would be great back there. I don't think he has any. Okay, there they come in. He's got to manually detonate them, though, which is pretty tough. Okay, here we go. This could be the game-deciding fight. Zealots over here at the front. A really good storm on those Lings. Banelings trying to roll in and crash through those shields. There's just so many Ultras here, Valdez, even with a good position on this Protoss army. And he's trying to force his way through. Worst possible engagement, though, for the Ultras.
It is, but it doesn't seem to matter. Solar's just got way too much stuff. And even if he trades efficiently with this, he's got an amazing economy behind it. GG. Solar impressing me once again. SOS having so much trouble dealing with the style. And that may just be, you know, the thing that kills him here if Solar does the same thing going into the next set.
Baneling, Ultras, Ling, Bling, Ultra. You saw it here first on the Star League Challenger.
Infestors as well.
Infestors as well, no doubt. That's
couple more
important to mention.
Vipers. A little bit of flavor, you know, sprinkle some Vipers into your comp, get those insane blinding clouds down.
This has been pretty rad today, man. I'm kind of excited to see this more and more in the future.
This may just be the best best of 5 we've had so far in Challenger.
I think
believe.
so.
Out of the 6 so far, really enjoying this so far. Really cool style from Solar, and a great Protoss and